Right, so we have an MOT booked for Thursday. Today is Tuesday. I was expecting to do it next week, but they got me in early. So we're going to work through a service or anything that's not been done yet and try to use the MOT guidelines to see what needs doing. So this was last tested in 2013 and it failed, and so these are the reasons it failed. So the near side steering rack gaiter has been replaced, the offside steering rack gaiter has been replaced, the front suspension, the mountain prescribed area is excessively corroded. I can't see that, and I haven't seen that, and you've seen we've gone through and done it. So near side inner rear suspension component mounting prescribed area is excessively corroded. Again, not seen it, so I'm hoping that's okay, but we'll, I guess, find out. And then the rear tyre, well, that's been replaced, so I think we should be okay on all of that, and I guess we'll find out on Thursday. So, but with those things, I think we're okay.
Okay, I've been going around the car trying to work out what it will fail the MOT on tomorrow. And I did find a site which had some information, so things like loose mirrors. So this mirror here isn't quite secure. The inside, there's a little plastic bit that goes into the metalwork, and the one on the inside is broken. I've tried using a wall plug. It's made it better, but it's not great. Well, I fixed the other side, which was in a worse condition because of the way it had been put on. So there's that. I don't know if this here, I mean, this isn't great, but I've never fixed it. But you can see right here the seal on the windscreen breaks, then comes back. Now it just says the windscreen has to be clear of obstacles, so I don't know if that means that's considered safe or not. So I don't know, and we'll come along and see. Within the car, we do have a very slight issue. I haven't got the key in, but someone pointed out to me very helpfully when in the test drive that my brake light didn't go out, which I have to say I had not noticed. So let's get the key in. There we go. So there we go. You can see it off. Now, if I just touch my handbrake, there you can see it come on. Okay, so it is that, and I've been trying to work out what it is, but it does go off. But as soon as that handbrake gets touched up, I mean, you know, the slightest bit, it's on. So I don't know if that's a failure or not. So all of the lights work, including the hazard light. You have to have just the right position. Most of the time it goes into it. Occasionally you have to do it twice. So hopefully that'll be okay. But there is a place where I think even if everything else is okay, it will fail. And you've got to remember, the only thing I've done on the brakes on this car is bleed them. So if there's a problem there, then there's a problem. But the place that I think it will fail, which I hadn't particularly recognised when I was doing the work, let's see if I can get it in. Here we go. It's just here. You can see we've got a hole, and we actually have one in exactly the same place on the other side as well. And I suspect that will be a failure for rust in the suspension area. but I don't know. But I do think it's probably going to be an issue. But I'll talk to the guy about that and find out, because if I have to replace the whole of this, that's a bigger problem than if I have to weld a bracket over there. So if I can weld bend a piece of metal around and weld that over, if that would be considered secure. So I need to, if it fails because of that, I need to talk to him. So that's where I think it will fail. I hope it passes on everything else. I still have a lot to do on this car, and I know I do. And in fact, so I don't believe the overdrive is working, so I've got to do that. Having done the bits I have done underneath the car, I want to actually do, the rest of it looks now really poor under there. So really I want to get under there and clean it up underneath, and then paint it underneath, just to rust protect, and then paint it just to stop that going any further. Clearly I want to sort out my steering wheel at some point. I also want to recover the seats. The door cards are in a dreadful mess. The carpets are poor. So there's a lot to do still. My plan has always been to try to get it on the road and then have it as a rolling restoration. That is still where I would like to get to, and doing the MOT is really my stage for getting there. Oh, actually, the other place I thought it might fail, although hopefully I've fixed that now, is that I didn't have water out of this coming up further than here, and this one worked well, so I cleared out that hole on this washer, and having done that, all the water came out of then, and this one couldn't get anything. So I've now filled this up with a little bit of filler. You can see I've made a bit of a mess, but I can tidy that up at some point. And they now squirt about the same amount, and they both come about halfway, a bit more up the screen. So I hope that will be okay as well. So, well, I guess we'll see tomorrow. Yeah, so I guess we'll see tomorrow. I don't think this is a failure, but also that right there is my handle for the bonnet release. So because the actual handle is broken. So I'm nervous about it. My gut feeling says we're going to fail because of what I've found. But what I don't want is I don't want to fail because of work I've done. I don't mind failing so much because of work I've missed. So I guess we'll see. Okay, so we're back from the MOT. So the couple of bad news, one good news, I guess. So it did fail. They didn't actually do an MOT in the end. The car is so old, they're not used to it, and so they did a practice run, because when they do the MOT it all gets timed. So they did a practice on it, so they knew what they were doing and could do it. And their rolling road wasn't working either, so we haven't checked the brakes yet. But it would have had a couple of advisories, which they're going to email to me. But the only thing it would have failed on is that the headlights are too low. So I've brought it home so that I can sort that out. So the good news is it would have passed, subject to the rolling road, if the headlights were right. So I'm quite pleased about that. The bonnet was very hard to catch down, and I didn't check it before I left, and it wasn't catch down. So as I was driving home, this bonnet here flew up, wham, on there. And if you have a look now, you can see it used to stick out a little bit along the edge here, but it's far more so. You can see here the scratches, and how it's completely bent out up here. It's bent out there, and actually I think, oh, we can see all the paint off in fact here. But I think the bracket underneath is bent as well. I could be upset with the garage, but I'm upset with myself because I knew how hard it was to get this in place, and so I should have checked before I left. I'm really pleased that actually, subject to the rolling road, the only thing that it would have failed on is the headlights. So I know what I'm working on this weekend, that is to say, sort out the headlights, take a look at, you can see how bad this is, take a look at trying to sort this bonnet, so that'll be coming off and getting a bit of a bang. Yeah, really pleased with the failed MOT, how about that? Right, so my headlights are too low is what I was told. I've been having a little read about the headlights, and I can't find anything that tells me what height they should be at. But what they do say is that they should be at the same height, and you start with them about 2 foot from a wall, and then on dipped they should both move up and down together, and they have to be within a certain range. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to use this bit of wall over here in front of the Stag. The Stag has passed MOT, so I know those headlights are okay, so we're going to move that so it's 2 foot away. We're going to mark up the wall with the results of that, and then we're going to switch the cars around. Well, we won't switch them around, we'll move the Stag outside, we'll move the MGB in there, and we'll have a look at getting those heights right based on that. Right, so my instructions show that what they're meant to do, but it's presumably for modern cars, is if you dip them, they should be dipping down to the left. Obviously, the Stag actually has a separate set of lights for the beams, which are just coming up higher, slightly higher in the middle. So yeah, let's put those back on. And we're just going to mark those as well. Okay, so that should give us some idea about where the dips and the beams are. We're now going to switch the cars around. So that should be about 2 foot away. So that's my beam. No, that's not my beam, that's my dip. And that's the beam. Huh. Well, that looks not bad to me, to be honest. You can see the right one is exactly spot on. The left one looks to me like it's at the same height. Right, I best go and read a bit more about it. Okay, I think the issue here is that the centre point of the beam should be at the same height as the light. Okay, so you can see, that's about where the right height is. Okay, so it should be up there. Which means I think the stag is probably a bit low, but what we're going to do is try adjusting for that. Okay, well they're both set as high as they can go now, so they look to be approximately the same height, so hopefully that will be okay. And when we put on high beam, well, that's what we're going to go with. Right, so if I've done my headlights wrong, please let me know before Thursday the 25th, when I will, it's going back in for its MOT again. I'm going to finish this episode here. Next episode is going to be sorting out this bonnet again. So we've got a scratch along here which we're not going to worry about just yet. What we're going to try to sort out is that it's got bent quite badly out of shape. So we're going to take it off. We're going to try to bend it back into shape. And actually, I think the problem's actually underneath, and I'll show you. Okay, so we're underneath. So this got ripped off. You can see here, which is now, I'm having to hold this up by hand. So this is all bent out of shape here where it connects up. And then I think down here is the other place where it's a big issue, where you can see it's been quite badly bent out of shape. So what I'm going to try doing is getting this back into shape and pushing this back into shape, and hopefully that'll pull the rest of it back in. So we're going to take the bonnet off and try to sort that next.